Ortrun's with us in spirit and virtually as well this evening, as we will bring her in just a moment. Ortrun Franklin stepping up with her presentation tonight. She's an esoteric Egyptologist, intuitive author, spiritual mentor, meditation practitioner, and founder of Key of Life Mystery School of Experiences. Meditation is her way of life, as it has led her to over 50 years of gaining wisdom and insight, both through extraordinary life experiences and spiritual studies. Her recently published book, Key of Life: Integrating Ancient Wisdom into the Modern World, is a compilation of articles with emphasis on the ancient mystery schools and the truths. Tonight's presentation is Twin Flames with Ortrun, and her definition and more details about this presentation this evening is a twin flame reunification is a concept rooted in spiritual and metaphysical beliefs, describing the intense coming together of two souls thought to have been a single energy. This profound connection between individuals is characterized by instant recognition, a deep emotional and spiritual bond, and mutual mirroring of strengths and weaknesses. Twin flames often catalyze personal growth and transformation in each other. This powerful dynamic pushes both parties to grow and transform in very significant ways.
Yeah, with that introduction, she's a lot of other things too. We're all a lot of other things. Let's face it, right? We came from the heart and mind of God, right? And all of us chose to come down here and to be part of this process, the process of being here on planet Earth. And when we decided to come to planet Earth, when we decided that we would leave the heart and mind of God, it was a really interesting thing because when we were part of the heart and mind of God, we were an aspect of the creator, I mean, high up. It's not only the one that's here for our planet or for our universe, but on up. Who knows? It's unending, right? Just like imagination is unending. It keeps going and going and going. And so, but we were an aspect. And that aspect of coming from the heart and mind of God was actually what was called the twin flame or the twin soul. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding sometimes because people don't understand the difference between twin soul or twin flame and twin soul are the same, or soulmate. There are various different words that are used, and so as a soulmate, what is that in comparison to a twin flame and so on. But my understanding and with the research that I've done is that when we chose to leave that heart and mind of God, we first and foremost were the completed soul. And that completed soul was the twin flame. And within it, there was the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this completed soul, at some point, decided that they would go out and experiment. Now, and it was also because the divine creator wanted to learn more and more about the inner workings of her creation. It's interesting because, you can look at a project and there it sits, and look at here, this is beautiful candle here. But truly, if you decide to go inside of that and investigate every corner of it, there's so much more to it than you could ever realize that went into that the way it was formed and so on. And that's the same thing with creation, with the divine creation of God. And so there are some of us that chose to leave that heart and mind of the divine, and it was a step down process. I call, as I mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention it already, but this soul, this twin soul, I call it the completed soul, because there you were together, the two different aspects of yourself. And so you, with your partner, with your twin, chose to leave that divine mind to experience, to grow. Yes, the planet needed assistance, and eventually probably made our way down to the planet. But when we chose to leave that heart and mind, we chose to separate ourselves. And the reason for this is because we assumed, and it certainly is the truth, that we could both experience different things because at some point in time, we're going to get back together again. Eventually, this twin soul or the completed soul will come back together. And they will have accomplished so much more than if they were doing it all by themselves. So they made a decision to start stepping down. And let's just look at our universe. And there are 12 different levels in our universe. So there was that step down process, and they went into the 11th dimension. And when they went into that 11th dimension, they decided to choose to be with a family. And that family became our soul family. And so there were 12 aspects from that started from the highest level. And so the one twin may have chosen to go to the left side, and the other might have chosen to go to the right side. But within each one of these 12 families are the soul mates, because there are others that have already experienced and are still working in that particular aspect of that one aspect, that higher aspect. And so the twin soul would then, the one twin would experience this, the other twin would experience the other. And so it would go on, and they could move into the different 12 aspects in that oversaw that spirit family. Or it could decide, okay, I'm finished here. I want to go down further because I really, my goal is to come to planet Earth. Because I know there was this big call that went out that they needed assistance here. And so we worked our way down. And so there was a separation that took place. But ever since that point in time, there was always this feeling within ourselves. Somewhere on some level, we feel we're not totally complete because we took that separation. We separated the completed soul, and we went different directions. But because we had chosen to learn and to grow and to help and assist, we did that. We continued to move step down into different levels, into a more density, deeper density and density. And then they finally, maybe one is now down to the 5th density of vibration, where the other might still be functioning at the 7th. They may decide never to move down to that 5th density. They may remain there. Now, on a level, an internal level, on a subconscious, I'm going to even say like a superconscious level, they know they're always together. But once we come down and reach the 3rd dimension, because our memory was basically sort of wiped clean, we forgot about that. We forgot that they were actually there, for us. So very often we feel very much alone here upon this planet Earth. We feel that we are just doing things and moving through things. Yes, we're helping, we're assisting here and so on. And we may have been with planet Earth now for, who knows? I mean, planet Earth, Egypt alone is 700 million years old. So who knows when we actually decided to step in. And we may have made that commitment that we're going to be here with the planet through the duration. We may have chosen to make the commitment to be here for maybe 3-4 lifetimes, maybe 10,000 years or so on. But what occurs is still learning, growing, learning lots, especially if you're in the 3rd dimension about, I'm going to say, pain and suffering and fear and love and loss and on and on and on. But this is all areas that we need to learn for our soul to grow and become. And then we take it all back to the heart and mind of the divine. So it's been said that it's not that often that the twin souls come together. But because of the vibrational change on planet Earth, with the upliftment of the planet, more and more there's getting to be the recognition that twin flames are able to start coming back together. And the reason for twin flames to get together in certain levels is because there's usually a purpose, a special purpose. There's something that they're to bring forth. And it's something that's very, very important. I'm going to talk about the planetary level so that it can be lessons that or teachings that they're able to teach to the planet that are so important that they will then be placed in the akasha of the planet, so that when others come to visit this dimension, this third dimension, they can easily tap into that level of awareness and learn and quickly move through. Where most of us here, when we have our challenges and problems, it's quite a chore, right? We until you learn how to go through them more quickly. But you feel that, oh, sometimes we start with that victim consciousness at times, or the why is this happening to me? What is the reason for this? But it is truly a choice that we made, because if we don't experience the one side of the picture, I'm going to say the challenging part or the negative, whatever you want to call it, how are you going to balance out and attain the wisdom? Imagination is very, very important, but to attain wisdom, that's that inner knowing. And I'm not sure, when you said that imagination, that's ongoing. I think wisdom's always expanding too, I feel, because it can keep going, because there's so many different layers and layers of that also. So, but if you don't experience the one side, how can you actually, and maybe you've been here on the positive side for so long, how can you understand what's going on here? And so you step into that. And there's another reason why we step into that, those challenging side. And it's not only for our own growth, but it's also to assist others in that space. Now, I have said over the last few months, and this is really becoming loud and clear, is that, our society looks down upon people with faults, maybe, with addictions or so on. But sometimes people choose to place themselves in a place of addiction, because that is the only way that light can actually be placed into the spot. Does that make sense to you? Because if that being of light that had descended down, come from the heart and mind of God, and even though they may not even really be aware of why they're doing it, they're there to still assist and start bringing some light into this particular situation. That's why certain individuals go off into these dangerous places, like places of war, for instance. Some meant the majority, they're wandering around because the majority on the planet, 60% on the planet, have come up through the evolutionary process. But then there are the ones that came down, that walked through the descending process to come and assist the planet, unbeware that they're even doing it, because their mind was wiped clean. They don't know who they are, because then they wouldn't learn the lessons they were meant to learn to begin with, because there are lessons always, but there's also that giving. But then they walk into that space, and even though to someone on the outside it might look like they are oh my gosh, they're way off and so on, but they may actually have a purpose for being there, because there's someone that can actually walk into that and place the light and start anchoring that light into certain parts of the world. I remember hearing this about Haman once, and this is a very simple example, but not even as drastic as this. But I know that, over the years and being part of Coptics, the cleansing and the vegetarianism and so on and so on. And I remember hearing Hamid Bey went out one evening with these people, and this one person, he ordered a hamburger. And the other person says, "Oh my gosh, look at that person, he's eating meat," and so on. And then Hamid, he ordered a hamburger and ate it also. And it was to show that these are all judgment calls. We're not here to judge. We don't know what that individual is doing. We don't know why they're walking into that particular space. And even, I'm going to say, eating a hamburger, that person may have taken that hamburger and said his, and done his blessing and sent divine radiant light and love to that meat and so on, and it changed the whole vibratory frequency, the structure, the microscopic structure actually changed. And this might have actually been a higher vibration that he was intaking than maybe the person that was eating the vegetarian meal, because there might have been the clouding over of the thought of, that judgmental thought. So we never know why. But once we have gone through our third dimensional plane, and we've had so many challenges, because most of us have come here. Some have sort of an easy ride. Most of us, it's not quite as easy. But because we're here to learn and to grow and to become. And so once we've done it, it's like, it's tiring. It's very, very tiring. It's all of us is like, okay, I've had enough. I'm at my extreme. I just can't do anymore. I have to change something. Something's got to change for me. And so, and you always have that sense of lonesomeness. And that lonesomeness comes from that remembrance that there was something more. There was something that completed me. And so you start reading and you find this thing and it says, oh, twin souls. Well, I'm going to go out and search for my twin soul. Right? And this is what we all want that. We all would like to have that unification of the twin soul. And as I mentioned earlier, the chances of our being with our twin soul, the completed soul, it can happen, but the probability of happening is not necessarily so. But if you remember, you did this step down process, and you stepped into the 11th dimension. You joined a soul family. You have many soulmates. You're one of those soulmates there. Same thing happened when you went down into the 9th dimension. Every dimension that you walked through, you gathered another soul family until you came all the way down into the 3rd dimension, which then you entered into your own family that you have, right now, for whatever reason that you entered into that family. So it's once you decide that I'd really like to connect with that other aspect of myself, we start searching, we start growing. But what we must do first and foremost is, in order for us to gather with that other aspect of ourselves, is we have to start looking within ourselves, and we have to start clearing ourselves so that we are at a level where we can join with the soul, our twin, at a high, high level. So the soul, according to the Egyptian teaching, the ancient Egyptian teachings, is a very interesting thing, because there are many aspects to the soul. And the name is part of the soul. And so your name, the name itself, your name, whatever it might be, is extremely important. And it's very important that you use that name instead, like your Hans, and Hansi's okay. But Hans, because you've got the vibratory frequency. Check out the vibratory frequency of what your name is, and that'll give you a clue.
Middle names.
Pardon?
The middle names important.
Well, the whole name is important, but they serve different purposes. But the Hans, like your first name, it is like the personality name, but yet on the other hand, it's the one name that you're going to hear the most often. It's the name that is going to be repeated. Everyone that says it is handing you that vibratory frequency of what that name might mean. So, for instance, my name is Ortrun, and if I added up the numbers, it's a 7, which is that introspection. It gives you a clue as to what it is that a good portion of your life is going to be about. for me, I found it interesting because when I joined Coptics, I remember John Davis saying, find a specialty. And my focus was, okay, I can do meditations. I can lead meditations. And that was my focus. And it was very interesting because I was definitely guided to that, that going within, going within, going within. So yours might be a different vibratory frequency, but look at that. That's a part of your soul. So you want to start looking at that and seeing what that soul is trying to tell you by your name. Um, the middle and the last name, well, what I've learned over the years, and I know that John and I do our numerologies differently, but the last name basically has to do with the ancestral. It can be that ancestral forgivenesses and so on, to things that need to be transmuted ancestrally and so on. So there are different things that the different names mean. But the other part of the soul that the Egyptians believe that we had was, the ka is actually the essence of the soul. It's like the encompassing part of the soul. It's the vital essence, and within that is, like I said, the name is in there, and then there is the ib or the ibus, and that is the heart. The heart is very, very important. It's a very important part of your soul, and as we know, before earlier on, we never heard of high heart. We always heard about the heart, but there are those different levels of your heart, and one focuses the what you might call the low heart, but I don't like that term that much. But it focuses on the love of the earth. It focuses more on the earth, of loving your family and your friend and your food and so on. The Chinese, they have 129 different words that mean love. So there's many, many different loves. When you move into the high heart, then you're moving into the love of not only the planet, but beyond. It's universal, and you're starting to embrace everything. So that's a part of the soul. The other part of the soul is the shadow part, the sheb. It's called the sheb, or the shuet. And that part is also part of us. Sometimes we just don't want to look at that, because we've always, we've been always taught, well, that, but we don't look at the dark part of us. But we need to look at the dark part of us. And then there's the ba. The ba is actually, when you see it in Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see the wings, and you'll see the head of a bird, and a man's head, and then the bird. But the ba is that part where in the Egyptian times, they had the individual had passed away, and then the Anubis, who was the mummifier or took care of the process of death, he would put the heart on one side of the scale and the feather on the other. And if they were the same, that's the ma'at, the truth. If they were equal, it means that they were then able to join with the ak. Ak is the part that is the spiritual part. So it meant that if it was steady, if it was remained steady, it meant that they were able now to associate with the gods, because they had overcome their karma, and they were able to move on up. So for us to start looking for that aspect of ourselves, we first must balance ourselves out individually, because when we left that heart, mind of God, we were the completed soul. We moved into the let's say masculine and feminine part, and they too, we're all souls, but when we move up together, we become again that completed soul. And the whole process of the ancient Egyptian teaching is to work into the self realize, the fully realized self, coming back in that space of recognizing who we are. So now if we start, marriage is one of the things that most of us, not everyone, but choose to do, or maybe it's a spiritual marriage or so on, to help balance us out, to start having that masculine feminine aspect of ourselves starting to balance, and so that we feel that we're completed. And the further along in the process you are, you recognize that you may not find it there, but the more work that you have done on yourself, on your chakras, and cleared yourself and cleared out your karma, you're able to move up into different vibratory frequencies. And so, as I mentioned, you might be functioning on the third dimension, and a twin soul is functioning at, say, the fifth. You're not really going to be able to become that completed soul yet. But whoever it is that you end up becoming partners with, recognize that they are part of one of these soul families that you were part of as you came down. When you did the descending process, and so you have, my gosh, soulmates all over the place. You've got them on every single dimension. And if you start merging with those soulmates, and even if it's not physically merging with them, you start calling upon them, working with them. You start then reactivating, because what's going to happen is the things that you learned at that level are going to start clicking on again. So within you, this new awareness starts coming in. So your soul might be now at the fifth dimension. And so you're physically able to come together. It doesn't mean you can't ever reach that soulmate that you were with at the highest level. But the intention is to eventually be able to go back to the heart and mind of God by being connected with that soulmate. So now, okay, let's just say you come across your soulmate. There's there might be something that occurs. I'm going to talk about Carl and I, whether we are, soulmates of the highest, or whether we're soulmates at the fifth dimension or whatever. I mean, there's something that happened with us. And that's what happens with anyone that gets married. So recognition. How can you recognize that you might be with your soulmate? And that might be at a certain level. When Carl and I, we had known each other for quite a few years, actually, but he became my minister at one point. And then I was divorced, and he called and asked how I was doing, and I didn't want to talk about it. And so I asked him, "How are you doing?" And he said he was getting a divorce. And my heart just like leaped out to, I don't even know how far it went out. And it was just throbbing. And looking back, it was a recognition. It was a recognition that this is someone I knew he and I were going to be married. And then he wasn't really quite where I was at. So we didn't see each other for a good 6 months. And he he said that he was literally kicked in the rear, and he was told by his guides that he and I were to be together, so, and then, okay, that was another little sign. And then as time went on, had been together a little while and so on. And, Carl's very visual, and which is a wonderful thing. He's very fortunate that way. But in his visualization came to him, and he actually saw us in another dimension. And he saw our two lights coming together, being able to separate and come back together again. So these are pretty good signs that we're supposed to be together, or we have something. I'm not saying it's the ultimate, but I'm saying it's a relationship that has a purpose now. You can see that there's a reason for it. Because as I mentioned, in order for the twin souls to come together, there's usually a purpose. There's usually quite a large purpose. And because now the vibratory frequency of the planet is beginning to be higher and higher and higher, and we need more and more of these energies to start coming together, the more and more it's possible, much more possible and probable, that you can start getting together and meeting up with your soulmate, because you do have a purpose, and it's a large purpose. So don't give up on that, but it is a journey. It's a journey of not only working through your karma, your issues, because even once you come together, I said, he and I have been together a long time. We've been together for 40 years, but that doesn't mean it was always easy. It's not going to be necessarily this coming together and it's an easy thing. The important thing is that you choose to work through things. And so it's like any relationship. And so I would suggest that to anyone that is in any kind of a relationship is so you come together. And if it happens to be a twin soul relationship, what's interesting, because it happened with us, where these interesting things started happening, and these spiritual things started happening, these exciting things started coming, and to show us, hey, you're supposed to be together. But yeah, because each one of you had a different route that you took, all of a sudden you start, like any relationship, you start seeing all the little flaws. And all these, I don't like this about this person, and I don't like this about this person, and so on. But those things happen. And those are part of, are you going to get through that now? So you start seeing this, this is really irritating. I don't like this. But where's that commitment? How deep is that commitment? And that's the key. And the communication, opening up and communicating and speaking about it and being able to speak about it, even though it's frustrating and you don't want to hear it, but yeah, okay, I'll take that into consideration and so on. So it's very, very important. And then there are other levels of within that, and sometimes there's where you are just, okay, I'm out of here. I'm running now. I'm going to run now. But if you are truly meant to be together in this particular time of your life to carry out a certain purpose, the one somehow ends up having the I'm going to say energy, or they're able to start holding the space for the one that's still working through things. Eventually, it gets to be a space of surrender. And once that space of surrender doesn't mean that either that it's going to be completely over with. There's still things that you may be working through, but recognize you have to bring in the divine. The divine has to be within your marriage. It has to be that mystical marriage of the divine. And because you can't do it alone. And then once you work through that part of it, then and you truly have made that commitment. You work through most of the karmic aspects. It is then that you start. It seems as though you start being given more gifts, because there are these things that you're meant to develop here on this planet Earth together, and to assist with here upon this planet Earth. And then there is that total connection that you are one, and that, and this can occur, as I mentioned, at different levels. It doesn't have to be the ultimate level, but recognize that you'll come together and be together, and maybe then again grow into another level of awareness and consciousness with another soulmate, because you've got many on different levels. So when you are in a partnership and it by chance doesn't work out, soon you come to the understanding that you have done what it is that you're meant to do in this relationship. The purpose has been served. But this is another step. It's another step so that you can move into yet another level of awareness and consciousness. And this is what occurs with twin souls, is they will come together, and it might be for a certain period of time, and then they separate again because they are off to learn and grow in a different direction again. But no, the thing is that you realize that you were together. There's now more a conscious awareness that that soul is with you whether you are together or not, because you have joined together. And so if you need to call upon that one that was with you on a different realm, know that they are with you, because they're always with you. As a matter of fact, all of these different soul mates, they're with you all the time. All you need to do is call upon them for assistance. Anytime that you feel that there's something that you need them for. we have separated ourselves here on this planet Earth. We think, we walk it alone. I know that most of you here know that you're not alone, but how often do we, even though we in our heads know that, don't really bring all those beautiful, beautiful soulmates that we have on all these different dimensions into our lives? And that's the important part, is for us to connect and with all of them and recognize it, as I meditate morning and at night, and it doesn't even have to be a half hour. Take 10 minutes, meditate, and bring your spirit family, that soul family, into your awareness and consciousness, and walk together with that family throughout your day. And the same thing, it might going into the night, and then as you do your travels through the night, walk with that family. Then there is that knowing that you are not alone, and truly make them your friends. You talk to them as though they're right here, and they are, because they're right here. Just, you may not physically be able to see them, but they're here. They're here to be with you. So you have many that are soul mates, but at different levels of awareness and consciousness. And there will be a time where, again, that unification takes place, where it is the completed soul. And then you may be there for who knows how long, and decide to journey off again. So recognize that you're never alone, and that your twin flame, your twin soul is there, and call upon them when you need help, whether they're in the physical or whether they're somewhere else, because they're right there with you to assist you and help you. Okay? So, does anybody have any questions about this? Because this is quite a interesting, it's a different topic, but for me, it's been really coming forth. So it's something that I was meant to share. So
Thank you, Ortrun. What an interesting topic. It makes you think of a lot of different things of our soulmate, our twin flame. Like to open it up for discussion and your thoughts on twin flames. Couple of things that come to my mind is, you think of your twin flame is the perfect balance, the harmony, the light, the love. But Ortrun kind of touched on some things that say you're here to learn lessons from each other as well, which it could be some darkness too, some frustration, some challenges. And I guess I haven't looked at it that way. So, Carl, I'm sure you've had many discussions with Ortrun about twin flames and maybe your own experiences with her, since she's your spouse. To have balance and to grow, which we're all here to do, Carl, is it something that's part of having a twin flame or soulmate, is to have those challenges? Is that part of the plan for us? Or
say that again. Is it
part of the plan to have these challenges for growth, and also you think of the harmony, the light, the love with that twin flame?
I don't think any of us consciously planned our challenges, but we did unconsciously before we were born. We wrote a script for this lifetime indicating the growth we wanted to attain and the service we were willing to give. And if we're following our guidance, we're led to a person that can help us do that. Parents, for example, our siblings, our closest friends, our spouses, and even our children, all right, are there to help us, even as we're there to help them on their life plans. Does that answer what you were asking?
Yes, it does. Yeah, we certainly don't choose our challenges, but I guess we do maybe on the other side before we come in, as we write our scripts.
Say that again.
As far as the challenges, that we don't choose the lapse during our lifetime, but when we're writing our script of life before we incarnate, is that something that we write these challenges, even though they might be a loosely way of writing them, and there's a lot of variables of how they unfold? I guess that's the question that I have.
I hate to say this, but my half of my hearing aid has died on me, and I'm having difficulty. And I just turned the volume up even more.
I'll try to get close to the microphone. When we write our scripts of life before we come into this earth plane and incarnate, do we write a loose way of learning challenges, or do we write some challenges in the script that say we don't know how they're going to unfold? They'll probably unfold in different variables, different ways, shapes, and forms.
Basically, what we wrote in is what it is we wanted to attain in terms of growth and what we wanted to give in terms of service. And we may or may not have planned specific challenges, but we did plan the relationships that we were going to have to meet those challenges and to overcome them. And with Ortrun and I, this is such an important, critical time in the history of the planet and humanity. All right, and it's my understanding is growing that the whole universe is ascending, not just the Earth and our solar system. Okay, but the whole universe is ascending, and Earth has a key role to play in that. So I think that Ortrun and I came together so that we could work together because of the importance of this time frame and the importance of this planet in this time frame.
That makes sense.
I think, you and Ortrun, because you've lived together for so long and have had so many experiences, I was reading Janice's message. Where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. But through the course of your married life, you recognized your pattern and you recognized what the two of you brought to the table as far as your union together. Usually it starts out romance and the male female attraction to each other. But once that settles down, and you're friends to begin with, obviously, but once that settles down, then you find the deeper meaning of your relationship together.
Yes.
And some marriages, like, I had a marriage before I married John, and I'm thinking as Ortrun speaking tonight, that was not a twin flame, but it was a union to serve another purpose.
Yes.
So not all your unions or your relationships with marital partners or lifetime partners, they don't always mean that you're twin flames. That has to be, because I recognize my first marriage was not in any way two souls, two twin souls meeting.
Yeah. So, Nancy, I think that twin souls rarely get together in a marriage or even a close friendship because they're going to be working together and in a similar, not only area, but frequency range. Whereas if they're working separately, they can be working on different frequency ranges, having different kinds of experiences, offering different types of help and assistance and so on. And then tune in on a memory level so that they can each learn from what the other one has experienced. It exhilarates the growth of both of them, and it allows them to spread their energy much further, reach more people, more situations. Does that make sense to you?
Well, they were part of the completed soul at one time, is that correct? Twin flames, twin souls?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Hey, Carl.
Yes.
I think I know why you and Ortrun are get together, man. You know why?
Why?
Because Santa needed a helper. Santa.
Oh, Pete, I hope you never lose your sense of humor, buddy.
I'm sorry, man. One thing I got, Carl. You talk about different dimensions. And tonight, Ortrun talked about universe. I call cosmos. I'm a big fan of Ancient Aliens TV show.
Mhm.
Talk about you're not alone, never alone. Stargates. Have you heard the term stargates?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Supposedly we can go into some doorway and go through a different dimension or a different part of the universe. So I'm thinking, you think that's real, man?
Yes.
Okay. I just wondered.
I'm anticipating that very probably before the end of this decade, we're going to have open contact with some of our ETs, particularly the Palladians.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you. Any other thoughts or comments?
Claudia, on your gift of psychic ability, or what you can gain from the other side. Do you have any insight into this topic?
Not particularly, but I haven't thought about it. Um, I do believe, I mean, it's like Rose and I, we are so tight, and I can't imagine we didn't know each other at different points. So I can identify with that, with really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, because her and I have gone through some stuff that wasn't really the greatest, but we always come out on the other side, because we have that deep connection.
Mm-hmm.
And you came,
And I'll have to say with my husband Floyd, half the time I go, why did I do this? But then I go, oh, wait a minute, I know why.
Yeah.
The amount that I've learned from it has been incredible. The stories can go on, and not just about Floyd, but about this recent, well, it's been a year now that the big tree fell on our house and messed it all up. And I can tell you tons and tons of things of how positive that came out. So, we can always see the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an inner feeling that I have done a lot of work on a lot of different levels, and I'm so grateful for that. And I speak that very often. So thank you, Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to say that Michael Joy, I really learned a lot from your um Hamid Bey introduction. I do.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot lately with vibrating frequencies and stuff like that, so that the title of it just intrigued me. So that's where I decided to go.
And I think that has a lot to do with twin flames too, because although you might seem very different, there's that vibratory essence that brought you together in the first place. So, yeah.
Look at everything that's happening as far as sound and even color. I mean, the sound baths and the singing bowls and the flutes and the different sounds, the chanting. I've always loved chanting. And then you look at color, and sometimes just color pops into your mind, and I think it's there for a purpose, and it's up to us to figure out what it's there for and how to use it.
Well, if you want to push this concept of twin souls to an extreme, the whole universe is simply one. To me, the universe is the creator expressing and experiencing itself. And it has placed its consciousness in everything that is, everything that exists, on all levels, all dimensions, all right? And even now, it's fascinating to me, science has found that atoms have consciousness and relate to one another. On the subconscious level, or on the subatomic level, what they call the quantum level, photons and quarks have consciousness and also are aware of themselves, their environment, their options, make and act on choices. All right? And we've known this in trees for several decades. So consciousness is universal. And what connects twin souls is their joint consciousness. And whether we're together with a twin soul or whether we are separate from our twin soul, we are a part of the consciousness of the Creator. And traditional Christianity refers to that as the Holy Spirit, the omnipresence of God. And we have that omnipresence of God within us. I refer to that as my soul. Okay? And so if I have a soul, which is an aspect of God consciousness, and you have that, we are all twin souls on that level. Okay? So we're all, well, let me go one step further here. Owen Waters says, and this really hit me, he said, you don't have a soul. Nobody has a soul. What you do have is you are a soul who has a body, a human physical body. In other words, you are the divine essence of the Creator in physical human form, functioning in this density and this level of consciousness. And I like that. And I believe that everything that exists is the divine essence, the divine consciousness existing at that level of its existence. We are all the divine conscious. We're all one.
And
So
that's pretty much what I was thinking here for quite a while, is that this idea of twin flames, twin souls, that there's only one other that you're really a part of. Because from my point of view and the way that I feel and experience my reality is exactly what you were just saying, that we're all one. We're all part of the divine. And so we're all part of one soul.
correct.
Expressing in many different bodies. So to say that one person is more of our twin than another person on the soul level doesn't make sense to me on that level, but I do recognize that as we go through our different pathways, we all change our frequencies, our resonance, the different vibrations that we have. And so there are occasionally times when we run into someone that we're more in harmony with than others. And because we're always changing, we're always learning, we're always growing and doing different things. As Ortrun pointed out in the presentation, there does come a time when we're together for a part of the pathway, but then our pathways diverge and we go separate ways. And then we run into someone else who resonates with us on that part of the pathway, and it's all changing.
Yes. And she also said that, how many quote twin souls do you have out there who are souls that you have been very close to in other lives, at other dimensions, other places, okay? And so it isn't just, I agree, it's not just one. And at some point in the past, Ortrun and I have been functioning, not maybe as one soul, but souls that were functioning very, very closely together. Yeah, and I want to thank Ortrun. I think she gave a fantastic talk.
Yeah.
Good.
That presentation has been one of the more popular ones on the Coptic YouTube channel.
What she said, 7,000 or something like that hits on that talk? 2,000?
Could be. I didn't take a look at it, but yeah, it could very well be like that.
I guess we'll never really know until we get to the other side, huh? Then will it be an all-knowing and very clear? Will that be the ultimate knowing once we all
Nancy, I don't
get to
think
the one great soul that we're part of?
I think that I'm not sure it will be all knowing because we're not at the level of consciousness for that, but it will certainly be at a state of expanded consciousness in comparison to where we're at now. So we'll have a lot more insight and wisdom and understanding.
I can't tell you how many times I say that. Well, we'll know when we get on the other side.
And all I can say is good luck, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not the end all of end alls, huh?
Don't think so.
That's just another step in our growth.
If
Yeah.
we live in eternity, how many stages are there? How many dimensions will we
Yes,
go
how
through?
many so-called mansions are there?
Yes.
We only go to where, well, the way I understand it, we only go to where our vibration has earned a place to go.
That's right. That's right.
I think I'm recalling that in the book Oneness by Rasha, it seems like they were talking about the different dimensions that we exist on simultaneously, and the actual oneness is bringing all of those together into one. So it is that we're all one because we're all doing the same thing. But that's when we recognize the oneness of the multiplicity of dimensions that we exist in simultaneously.
See, to me, there are two different kinds of people on the planet. There are the people that have gone through evolution, that has moved from a lower frequency to a higher frequency, from a lower life form to a higher one. The light workers, in my experience, almost universally are descended beings. They've descended from higher levels of consciousness. And when we chose to leave one level of consciousness, the entire soul did not leave. The soul left, all right, and chose to descend. And so on all of the dimensions that we've been on, we have a higher soul, okay? And we are probably the lowest aspect of our soul. And it is from us that those that did not descend are learning and about these lower, denser vibrations. We are their teacher, all right? And they are not only learning from us, but they're always overlighting us. So if we need help, all we need to do is ask. And you can address my higher souls. Please help me with this. And then be open to receive. So we are multi-souled beings. Okay? That's my perspective.
There's a guy, Christian Sundberg. I think you can find him on YouTube, but he also wrote a book, I think, A Walk in the Physical. And he had memory of before he came into a physical being on the planet. And he ran into somebody who was shining so brightly, and he said, I want what you have. And that guy said, yo, you can have it. You just have to go to Earth. And he made more than one attempt before he actually made it, because he said it was so hard to bring his vibratory level down to this level. And then I realized, oh my gosh, we've all done that.
Yes. And we were all chosen to be, we not only volunteered, but we were chosen among numerous volunteers to be here at this time to assist with the ascension of the human race and the planet. Because again, this planet is playing a key role. And if you want proof of that, the fact that Jesus chose to incarnate here among all of the planets in the world, because he saw something in the potential of what could be accomplished here, and he came here to assist by teaching us that we can be Christ consciousness and do everything that he did and even greater. And that was his reason for coming. It wasn't to save us, to die for us on a cross. All right, that's Christianity, and Christianity is based on sin and forgiveness. But if we have God within us, how could we have ever been separated from God? Doesn't make sense, does it? So
Impossible.
The fact that Jesus chose this planet indicates how special it is, because Jesus, according to the Urantia book, is the creator of the universe, taking his seventh and final initiation. And the initiations were, he had to understand the universe from within as well as he understood it from without. And this was the lowest vibration that he is ascended to in understanding the universe. And his purpose was to help to lay the groundwork for raising the vibration of the planet and all life on it.
Well, I like to put things through like song. When I was talking about Christian Sundberg, I'm recalling a song that was out, Calling All Angels. And in that song, they talk about like a basket is placed on the steps, and it's so heavy, so dense. And then they go into Calling All Angels, help me through this one. And it's like Carl said, we have to ask. And that's a way of asking. And I can't even listen to music and clean the house because I won't get any cleaning done. I'm going to be bebopping through the house because that's just me. I don't understand people who can sit still while there's music playing. It seems like either a finger or a toe or something must be moving.
Hey, Michael, you got rhythm. You got rhythm. Nancy, I want to say one thing. With Michael said about John, I said accent to positive, eliminate negative, right? I said, man. Yeah.
Carl, you said there were two kinds of people. One was evolutionary. What was the second kind? Did you talk?
Descending.
Oh,
Those came
descending.
from-
Okay.
Yes, the ascending and the descending.
Okay.
I think we're good to go. So join us next Tuesday. We have a new moon meditation and healing service with Lord Joy. That's coming up on the 29th as we come up on a Halloween trick-or-treat time, just a couple days from that. And we'll also have Bob Hunniga, featured speaker, coming up on November 5th for more holistic healing. It will be his topic. I don't have a specific topic for his presentation, but keep your eyes open for your emails for that. And mark your calendars again for the March 15th, 2025 conference for the Coptic Fellowship Beyond the Mask, Finding and Living Your Authentic Self. So we look forward to that in the coming months and more details of the speaker lineup with the Coptic Fellowship. So good to see you all tonight. Thank you for your comments, and it was very enlightening.
Enjoy your trip, Michael Joy. Safe travels.
Yes, yes.
Thank
you.
And good night, everybody.
Good night.
Say,
Good night, everyone.
Carl,
you.
say thank you to Ortrun.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I will do that.